Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? This is the number one Chief Rocket Knicks Universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy. And welcome to Old School Knicks. Y'all know the vibe. Come and ride on this fantastic voyage. You know what we do every Sunday morning, man. It's Old School Knicks. We're going to talk about the present. We're going to talk about the past. And we're going to talk about history and how they all relate to each other. But before I do, let me bring in my guy, the sage of Knicks Universe, the Knicks Universe historian, the man that knows everything about everything Knicks related, not because he just studied it, but because he lived it. I'm bringing my guy, the man that is so smooth with 3 O's that he does not require a chaser. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, put some fire emojis in the chat for our guy, Anthony D. Bim, what's good, sir?
Good morning. The sage?
The sage.
I think I like that.
Nothing
sage.
Around him. Young people better not say nothing around him.
Oh my God!
Don't be coming right here talking about no young core. He done seen 9 young cores.
No, don't be coming around and talk about no young core. But good morning, Uncle Freezy. Good morning, Knick Nation. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody that's coming in. You know what I'm saying? You know what we're gonna do here. Old school Knicks and beyond.
Bill.
You know. Yes, sir. So, but we were talking, just to kind of pick up on our conversation, behind the scenes, Haney Lomachenko. But the one, I want to say this. Shout out to both, gladiators.
Shannon Briggs.
Shannon Briggs. You can get these hands.
I hate putting my hands on the screen.
Damn, Freezy, you got a paw. What the hell?
I have so many displaced knuckles, bro. I got so many knuckles pushed back. People look at my hands, they like, ew.
You got like 2 knuckles per where 1 knuckle should be.
Yeah, I got displaced, but whatever, man.
Let's not get hit by the 2-time Green Street champion.
A Green Street Grocery?
Street Grocery champ. 2 times.
Yes. Miss Margaret, shout out to Miss Margaret and them. They getting a little bit older. Every time she see me, she be like, hey, baby. Miss Margaret and them cooking leg quarters in the kitchen while I'm in the ring getting my brains beat out.
But it smell good from the canvas. Send me a plate. What people be out there just now.
Shout out to my hero, my hero, Spider Rico.
Spider Rico. Absolutely.
Yeah, shout out to my hero.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. But yes, but again, you know me and us, we love the boxing. And I always tell people, no matter who wins, both men are winners because it is the sports test. It is what it said it is. Like, about to punch you in the face all night long.
Bro.
Okay? Forget the ribs.
Yeah.
Forget that he's probably going to hit you in the heart like a good 50 times in the fight.
50 times.
At least. It's pat, pat, pat. That's about to happen all night long. So for those gladiators, and all of the gladiators who take up the sweet science to become pugilists, because that is the technical title for, a fighter. When quick out, when Jack Johnson, when he finally went to go serve his prison time, and they showed you, like, when you have to, write your name in, what you did, Jack Johnson writes, Jack Johnson, chauffeur pugilist.
Yes.
Now, he only a chauffeur because he driving around in the hottest and the latest and whoever you are sitting next to me, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
hold my hat.
Right.
Hold my hat. They
Right.
ran they ran Jack Johnson down one day, or I should say the police ran him down one day and pulled
Yeah.
him over and was like, this 1902, so you know what it's gonna be. It's about, hey boy,
Yeah.
where you think you going? Who car is
Who,
this?
who caused it? You said it's 2023. You
Yeah,
said that's what it was.
yeah. Who car is this?
Yeah.
And like, yo, hold on. Let me write you this ticket real quick. So Jack pulls out. The legend has it. Jack pulls out the watch. So how much is it? Like $10 or something like that. You got that? Jack world champion. Jack pulls off like $100 bill and like, I ain't got no change for that. Jack was like, look, I want you to hold on to that because the same way I'm leaving is the same way I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So when you see me on the way back, just hold that for that too.
Bam.
Shout out to the legend.
Yeah, shout out to the legend. That's one dude I felt like if I could ever get in the ring with, I would just love to take a ass cutting from him. Just be in it, just be in the ring. Now I'm probably in my prime years, I probably would have been about the exact same weight as him. We'd have been about the same size. I might have been taller. Because heavyweights back then wasn't 260.
Yeah, you definitely taller. Jack is 6'2". Jack is 6'2",
about
190-ish.
Yeah.
At his best, probably.
Yeah. And in my prime, I was probably walking around at that weight, like 194. Okay. And so I had to drink like 2 gallons of water before the weigh-in.
To get
it. I'd go up there with baby gut. You know how baby drink so much milk, you can hear the milk in their stomach. Yeah. yeah.
We never even talked about that. Like, to make the weigh-in for an agreed upon fight. You know how many fighters, as you know, Freezy, how many fighters got to be like, I'm like a pound too heavy, and it's about to cost you bread. Right. You got to leave, go in the back, go shave off a pound real quick in the next like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
A pound just sounds like, no, it don't just walk itself off. You about to go do some vicious calisthenics. They give
you them. You ever notice that when boxers come out of the back, and we're gonna talk Knicks, y'all. We're gonna talk Knicks, but you ever notice when they come out the back, it be like somebody like right off their wrist to make sure they don't fall or have like a dizzy spell, or you notice when the boxer gets shoved in the thing, they get shoved and they can't keep their back. It's because they legit are dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? They go back there and they take that water pill, and that water pill, man, I took a water pill no lie. My doctor gave me a water pill one time. This was about 2017. No, 2016. This is about 2016. I was training with a guy. I was gonna try to get in the ring, and I was carrying all this. I go to the doctor. He was like, "Yo, I'm telling you now, you might urinate about 80." This is gonna sound crazy. He's like, "You ever took one of these before?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Man, you might." Thank you. You might urinate all night, and I was like, "Yeah, I know, whatever. Yeah, pee all night. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, I got you." He's like, "No, you gonna use the bathroom all night." I was like, yeah. I'm gonna pee all night. AD, I lost 18 pounds of water, bro.
That's a serious work on your prostate.
Yes. 18 pounds, bro.
So basically, you didn't go to sleep. You just crossed your legs until like every minute there was time.
Yeah, every minute. Yeah. And I got back to the gym 2 days later because I couldn't go after I stayed up all night. Basically stayed up all night doing that. And then my head was all swimming. I felt like
you're totally dizzy.
Yeah, you know how you feel off, like you just feel off kilter a little bit. So So I was like, man, what in the
Where's the
world did they
bed?
give me?
So I'm like,
These boxes will do that and then go out the next day and fight.
fight.
Yeah, man. Nah, man, I ain't.
I
That's why I'm like boxing,
yeah,
man.
you've
Especially
heard me
heavy
say it.
dudes.
You've heard me say it. It's the one sport, and they're the one participants in the sport that when I see how most of them end up, which is broke and in an obscure, for some particular reason, boxers always find a motel, some obscure motel,
Yeah.
something. You know,
Right.
when I hear that so many of them end up like that, it does my heart. You know what I'm saying? It does my feelings all type of wrong.
Right.
Because to see these men in their primes,
Right.
you know what I mean? To see, like, we saw two guys. Haney's not in his prime yet, I don't believe. Lomachenko is out of his prime.
Past his prime, yeah.
Past his prime, but it made for a good fight. And, you know, to see Lomachenko's face after the fight, and he's like, he can't believe he lost this fight. I'm like, dude,
you lost. Yeah,
I
you
think
lost.
I think Haney beat you.
Yeah, the rounds were close though.
Yeah, I think Haney got you. And I'm gonna watch it again because that's what we do. We're gonna watch him a couple more times. You know,
I'm not, bro. Let me tell y'all something, man. ESPN wanted to charge me $70.
He's like, yo, I'm not paying those $70.
No,
I'm not doing it. I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. It comes back on.
AD $70, bro.
Yeah.
I got paid to fight. Some fights, that's all I got paid was $70. $70.
You was fighting Rico for real.
Fighting Rico for real. And when I say got paid $70, I'm talking about on my way home, I would have like $17 because you got to pay your team, and then everybody gonna want to go out and eat, and then you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to pay, resupply your stuff, your little safety kit. You got to put band-aids back in there. You gotta get, bro. You ever had sunburn before?
Towels.
You ever had no? You can't use paper towels, bro.
No, I'm saying you gotta pay for towels.
Oh, pay for towels. Okay, yeah. And you gotta get expensive towels, so you can't get them Brillo pad towels from one. You ever had sunburn before?
Yes.
Imagine rubbing a rough towel over that sunburn you got.
It doesn't feel good.
Now, and then the thing about it is that's basically what you feel like after a fight. Like your body feel like your face feel like you got sunburn on it. So for the next few days, you got to put shades on because for some reason light just bother you.
Yeah.
And then your face is so tender to the touch, you just got gobs of Vaseline caked up on you for like the next few days.
Yeah.
Until that edema go down. And people that don't know, edema is like the mix between fluid and muscle swelling in your face. So yeah, man, you ready to talk about these Knicks, man?
Absolutely.
Get rid of everybody.
Okay, that works. Let's start from scratch. Let's clear I saw that in a movie one time. I think it was called the Fisher King. It's about chess, where the old master is Bobby looking for Bobby Fischer. Right. And at some point, like the child prodigy or whatever, the chess master goes, "You can't see the move?" And he walks over to the chessboard and knocks over all the pieces.
Yeah.
So, okay, now make a move.
Yeah, make a move. What you gonna do?
Sure.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if we got a chance to talk about this. So you've been a Knicks fan for a long time. And you've been through a lot of stuff. And when I say you've been through a lot of stuff, I mean you've been through a lot of stuff. Respectfully, I've been through that same stuff as a Knicks fan, right? And some of it is a part of doing business as a Knicks fan, and some of it is unnecessary torture. Some of it is a practice in torture, right? This offseason, my friend, I don't know if that is that. This is going to be that. This offseason, even though I feel like the Knicks should do a move, I don't think the Knicks will do a move. I hope they will. The signs are pointing to them doing a move, but I don't know if the move is necessarily there, right? And the thing is with the landscape changing, this is you remember that year 1996 that I keep referencing? Like
Mm-hmm.
how everything keeps changing. Like there was a great NBA draft that year, and then the salary cap stuff changed that year where free agents can kind of move around. Remember all the people that was trying to move around in 96, like the Shaqs and the Michael Jordans. And Jordan didn't move, but he could have if he wanted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these guys moving around. And so we're at another summer like that. And the last time there was a big summer like that, the Knicks didn't do anything, and it wound up backfiring for their future. And now I think the Knicks are in that same situation now. I don't know if them being quiet on the acquisition front will handcuff their hamstring their future. Do you think that them being quiet on the acquisition front will hamstring their future?
You mean quiet as in they're not going to talk about what they're going to do, but eventually get it done? So they're not following the what's going on right now as far as the rumors, or quiet as in they run it back?
No, I mean quiet as and they run it back, don't make a major move.
That's not going to sit well with the fan base
Okay.
overall, I believe. And
Okay.
I don't want to pretend like I speak for Nick Nation, but I do think that I got a decent pulse on, when I hear, fans on, shout out to all of the podcasters and the work that you guys do. I found some more, some new, I didn't even know that there's like, it's like every day there's a new Nick media
Every
because
every
I'm
day.
like new to Instagram and stuff like that as far as using it for, or using it besides just,
You new
looking
to
at the,
IG?
yeah,
You're
I'm
an old
very new
man,
to it.
bro.
I
You're an
am.
old man.
I
You're an
am.
old man.
And but you see, I readily admit that.
Yes.
I readily admit that. So I'm not gonna front, but I didn't know that there was so many people that cared about Nick content and in the
Yes.
universe. And I've been recently reaching out to some of them and stuff. So, and looking at their platforms and stuff, and just in the podcast world, like I said, shout out to everyone that does a podcast. And I listen, and I don't think overall running it back after coming off of a fifth seed, it's gonna feel like Atlanta all over again. It's gonna for me, it's gonna feel like the Kemba and the Frenchman, unnecessary marriage all over again. You be wasting Brunson in the here and now if you're not gonna make significant maneuvers because you're waiting for the graduation class. You're
Yeah.
waiting for the young core to do what? To come to his level?
Right.
That's a dangerous wait.
You know what it would be? It would be the Patrick Ewing years all over again. It would be the Patrick Ewing years all over again, bro.
That's a dangerous game to play. And he's not 7'1",
Right. Right.
muscles everywhere, athletically uber athletic, off the charts.
Yeah.
He the old man at the schoolyard that you just don't know. Why is he busting your ass on every possession?
Right. In Timberlands.
In Timberlands.
And smoking a Newport.
You know, he giving you this work. You didn't know he was just that nifty. And by the time you think you caught up with the footwork, the J
from everywhere.
From everywhere. Hinton, salute.
Salute.
Right? So to go back, I can't see it, Freezy. I want to say that this management team is going to learn from past mistakes. You're going to learn that Donovan Mitchells don't come around every day.
They sure don't.
Okay? So you gotta have substance to win, Uncle Freezy.
You sure do.
You just do. How are you gonna be serious going back with Julius and Obi? I'm not even talking about Julius in particular right now. I'm not gonna do that right now.
Okay.
What does Obi presently constituted, or what he's going to do in the next 6 months to work on his game, that's going to justify what you think running it back with him is going to bring you any step closer to the championship.
So first of all, you got to extend Obi. You got to give him 4 years, $64 million. So you got to give him at least $16 million a year to come off the bench behind Randall.
I extend him all right.
I'll extend him an invitation to the exit.
I will give you a ride out of town, my brother, my young brother. And that's no disrespect to you, but am I committing to that again? You got to be mad.
Hey, you know what, AD? Let me first tell you, I want to give you a compliment, right? But I don't want to do it because I don't believe in ego stroking, right? But let me do this.
What kind of shit is that?
Let me first extend a compliment to AD and to myself, by the way, which is really weird, right? But yo, what I realized over the last 2 years is our first instinct on something is usually correct. Right? Our first instinct on something is usually correct. Like when I got up here and I said, hey man, Obi Toppin is a dunk contest participant. And Cats was roasting me about, yo, why you hating on the kids? Nah, I'm not hating on the kids, bro. You know what I'm saying? This dude was supposed to be something. We get him, he not that. And now 2 years later, we done wasted 2 years waiting. Or not wasted, but spent 2 years waiting on the explosion of Obi Toppin, and come to find out he just a backup power forward. He a good NBA. He's an NBA player, but we not say, for instance, we can't trade Obi Toppin for Karl Anthony Towns. We can't trade Obi for nobody. We probably couldn't trade Obi Toppin for Cole Anthony right now.
Not straight up.
Yeah.
He would be a part of a. He would be a part of a package that a general manager or somebody in that organization always liked him, and believes that he could get a chance somewhere else, and it could blossom for him. Because that's how a trade. That's generally how a trade works. When you see some names and you're like, oh my god, why would they want him? Because they're scouts.
They always liked him.
Yeah, there's scouts everywhere. You know what I mean? So somebody, would be like, well, let's give him a chance again. Let's see how this works. He's not a bad kid. He's not causing problems. There's a lot that goes into that. But just on basketball GP, you can't. You've had 3 full seasons. About to go on the 4th. You're going to extend him to be in the same role again. You have to pay him what? What would be his starting offer? He's going to want like Mitch money?
No, he's going to want more than that. And the Knicks are going to pay it.
couldn't do it. To me, that's madness.
Yeah,
To me, that's madness.
It's because of Hoodie Kev. It's Hoodie Kev fault. Keeping around these kids.
Hoodie can't be adopting them, yo. Hoodie can't be adopting them. Hoodie can't be like, yo, you at home? You at home? All right, come on.
Yeah. Hoodie Kev ain't never like Hoodie Kev and Kevin Knox. He ain't never even heard of Kevin Knox. But once the Knicks said his name on draft night, oh, he the GOAT.
That man went on like a 2-year campaign.
Welcome to the Knox at Night podcast.
The Knox at Night podcast, for real. Shout out to
my man ain't never even heard of Kevin Knox before that.
Oh,
didn't even know Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox's father and Charlie Ward played football together at Florida State. Didn't even know that. Right?
Yeah.
A tough as nails receiver, bro. I love to watch Kevin Knox at Florida State go across the middle and get his head knocked off by the Miami Hurricanes. But as long as Florida State won, that's all that mattered. You know what I'm saying? But then his diva son come along and is the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? Is yeah.
And that's you see, the thing is, Freezy, when we talk about some of the young pieces and using them for other forward pieces, people think that we don't like our young.
Yeah.
Like, not because you draft them means that they should go invest in a home and a 30-year mortgage. Because they plan on being here for 30 years. Like, no, nobody told you to do that. You did that for your own accord.
Yes.
If your wife got to pack up the Tupperware and so forth within 6 months, guess what?
She got to pack up the Tupperware in 6 months.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It is what it is.
This love affair, because you draft them and you can't see. Sometimes you make mistakes, Freezy.
Right.
You don't know until somebody gets in your building. The Knicks fell in love with Kevin Knox off of a workout, 1 or 2 workouts in their building. But he ain't even unpacked the duffel bag. He just came there to look good in his shorts and stuff.
Right.
And the word out was he has Kevin Durant possibilities.
Yeah.
In what world?
In what world? And here's the thing to that too, AD, just to throw a little bit of Trae Young also came here and worked out for the Knicks. Steph Curry also came here and worked out for the Knicks. And there are pictures floating around on the internet. Steph Curry in a Knicks workout jersey. You know what I mean?
I want to believe it's a prop. It never happened.
Yeah. Oh no, it happened. Del Curry was trying to get his son to the Knicks.
I want to believe it's a prop because we just couldn't be that silly to think lightning was gonna strike. You know, lightning already struck. It did in May of 1985.
Yeah, they owed us that.
That was it. It don't strike in the same place twice.
Right.
And that's always like part of our Knick tears. Every year right around this time when the draft comes around, we get that bounce. Remember last year? Last year was the Knicks trading for number 4. They gonna get.
Yeah.
What's the young boy name? That goes to Detroit.
Jaden Ivey.
Yes, Jaden Ivey. That was the talk last year. Coming into the yo, I'm telling you. Yo. I know some people that was trying to get him into the marketing, like some marketing opportunities. Like he went to a couple parties like out here last year. And it was telling like, look, his people really wanted him to come to New York.
Right.
And yada boom, yada bang.
Yeah. And,
you know, it's up to the Knicks to see if they're going to make it happen. Remember that night?
Yep.
Knicks fans all, you know, we damn near had on pre-order Ivy jerseys.
Yes.
Every year. I think I was on Sim's show a couple of years ago, and I was telling him, like, look, I can't do it anymore.
Right.
I can't do that February through May investment of studying who the next young core coming into the draft and the possibilities. Nah.
AD, but let me ask you this, just on that though. I wanted to ask you this Friday night, and I didn't get a chance to ask you because when we do the open panel, everybody talking. You know what I'm saying?
That
You know
is a
how it
great
is.
show. I love Friday night.
Yeah,
We
man.
did till like 5 o'clock in the
And
morning.
what you gonna do outside on the corner? You better get yourself to. But not. But um. If you have a favorite player prototype, not a favorite player per se, but a favorite style of player, what style of player is it that you prefer over any?
I like. I've always been a fan of Chris Paul's game. Right?
Okay, right.
It's part. I remember somebody describing his game. He's like it's part Magic Johnson, part Isaiah Thomas,
Yeah,
in that he got to the floor leadership. He can pass it from anywhere. He can see that opening up, but he could also drill you consistently.
right.
And he knows when to take over the game
To take over. Yeah,
and when to get everybody
when
else
to take what the
involved.
defense give you, and when to attack the defense.
Yes,
That balance.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Because it's one thing to be like a Jason Kidd, and this is no slight to Jason Kidd. I've always loved his floor generalship and the attack,
yeah.
but it took him a minute to get a J.
Yeah, they used to
Or
call
some
him. They
semblance
used
of a
to
J.
call him. You remember they used to call him Ace and Kid. They used to call him Ace and Kid because he had no J.
Yeah, it took him a minute, and he became like pretty decent at the stand up 3-pointer, rotated back to him. He could hit it, but overall, his J wasn't the Chris Paul's.
No.
And like I said, Chris Paul is not coming down holding the ball, bounce, bounce, bounce between the leg. No.
AD, but what if I told you there is a Chris Paul in this draft, a carbon copy, right,
Okay,
of Chris Paul
I would be interested.
in this draft, but you take Chris Paul and you put him into Steve Francis' athletic body.
I would definitely be interested.
Right, I'm with you because the thing is, I think the thing is why you and I get along so well is because we think now, mind you, respectfully, we think differently, but we think along the same lines. Like we process along the same lines. Like when AD is about to go in his bag, I just sit back and shut up because I already know what's coming. Right? Not because what he's saying is simple, right? It's because I think along the same lines as he does. So when he gets ready to get into, because when he said Chris Paul just now, I'm thinking like, yep, me too, me too. Want that a point guard that's gonna get everybody involved, control the game. You know what I'm saying? Control the tempo. You know what I'm saying? Not be rushed, but play with urgency. All these different things, right? And so when he said that, I was like, yep, I'm with him. I'm with him.
That's always been like when I saw that kid and I saw him coming out, and just another one of those players you wish you could get. You know what I mean? Like would just change your whole life, change your organization's life at that time. And for the most part, I mean, he's older now, he's had injuries, whatever. I'm not grading him now.
Right.
I'm grading him like when he was with the Clippers and Doc had him after he came back off that injury, and Doc had him out there and just kept faltering at the finish line with him.
Yeah.
Just kept faltering at the finish line with him. You just can't. You can't get a Ferrari. Freezy, I can't give you a Ferrari. I can't give you a Maybach and tell you, Freezy, we doing something at the crib later. You
Right.
already know what to do to go fill it up.
Right.
And you come back and you have nothing in the car. You brought nothing with you to the party.
Right.
So you're gonna tell me what you need clothes to go along with the Maybach. Nah, I don't give
Yeah.
you a Maybach.
Yeah.
I don't give you the serious
And and
eye
and and,
catcher.
and now I gotta pay for your gas too.
And I gotta pay for your gas too.
Dude, this is too
No.
much. Yeah, this is too much.
This is just too much.
Right.
I can't
Right.
give you that kind of player at that age. And you don't know how to get you don't even at least know how to get to the finals with him.
Right. Bro.
See what you want about Monty Williams. That Phoenix team got to a finals.
Yeah. 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 And so ultimately the reason why I ask you that is because this year's draft, and I know some people, the draft is not some people's cup of tea, right? And I'm not trying to force it on them. I'm pointing out though, of all years for you to be aware, this is the year for you to be aware, right? This is the year that's gonna have it's Kobe Bryant's, it's Allen Iverson's, it's Peja Stojakovic's, it's Ray Allen's, it's Stephon Marbury's, it's Jermaine O'Neal's, it's John Wallace's. This year is the draft for that. Um,
From what you say, Freezy, and I'm not cutting your wisdom, right? From what you
right.
say, is there some from the guy that you mentioned and anyone else?
Right.
Uh, would they come in here this season and the trajectory has totally been changed because they're going to help us get to the finals?
You mean the team trajectory?
Yes.
Yes.
They're going to help us get to the finals. Is that what we're talking about? Like, we get this cat here in the uniform or anyone else, and next year we're talking about we're in the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least.
Right. Right. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you right now. And remember in 96 the Lakers drafted Kobe, and by the year 2000 they were in the finals numerous times, back to back to back to back to back. Right. And mind you, they already had Eddie Jones. They already had Nick Van Exel. You know what I'm saying? They already had Corey Blunt. They already had Sedale Threet. They already had Byron Scott. Right. They already had guys at the position, but they were like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy. He's gonna be better than all these dudes combined. So ultimately what I'm saying is if you are a results oriented person, like you don't care about the pregnancy, you just want to see the baby. What I'm saying now is that, you know what I'm saying, you might want to take a different approach. Just be aware. Right? This is like the 1985 draft all over again. Right? And I don't have to tell you how many teams struck gold in the 1985 draft. Franchises were set for a 15-year run of dominance based off of one draft.
Yeah, but what are the Knicks picking right now?
Nowhere. And the reason why they're picking nowhere is because they traded their pick for Josh Hart. AD, why you laughing, bro? This ain't funny. This is
because
business.
He set me. He does this every week. I don't see the punch coming because he's been digging at my rib cage. I don't see the right hand coming because he's been digging at my rib cage, and if you use a boxing term, analogy, that he was gonna find some way to go back at that overall pick. Josh Hart wasn't worth it, and that's not what I'm saying. Ultimately, But also,
Now I'm saying that
your
is
disdain for Josh Hart is gonna it's only gonna get worse as the summer progresses. Yes.
you know how some people hate you know how some people hate Charles Smith. You know how some Knicks fans hate Charles Smith, bro.
Woo! Wow.
Me and Josh Hart are there.
That's big. That's big, Freezy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I generally I don't dislike Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I like to give Knicks time, right? Look, yo, who let you down over the course, who over the years more? Right? Think about this. Who let you down more over the years? John Starks or Gerald Wilkins? Right? And you'd say immediately, you say John Starks because John Starks did it on a bigger stage, right? But what about the smaller stage? What about in our infancy when we was trying to those first four? You know, Gerald Wilkins and Pat Ewing were drafted in the same draft, right?
Yeah.
One was a first round pick, the other was a second round pick, right?
Yeah, he was second or third or something like that. I mean, it wasn't a bad pick overall because he was uber athletic and so forth. He's like, as years go by, like Jamal Crawford, he's just super inconsistent. You couldn't depend on it. But when you got a superstar to shoulder the burden, he could kick in a good game here or there.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what this is about. To go back to your original question, like seeing them stand pat, seeing them bring back a Gerald Wilkins type. How do you justify that to the fan base after seeing what could have happened? Whether you believe Tibbs coached a good game and put him in the best place to win in that game 6 or not, or if we want to beat up Randall, or if we want to beat up RJ, you can do any one of those. Right? But to bring back something that's not significant to help that out is hustling backwards to the umpteenth degree. And I don't know how you sell that to the fan base.
Again. Bro, this is like 1996 all over. Everything is pointing to that. Right? And Knicks fans, I don't know if you know this, but the Knicks have 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years.
I keep hearing that.
And if they just take those picks over the next 7 years, by the time they exhaust those picks, Jalen Brunson will be 33 years old.
And I'll be 75.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If they do this, God willing, you see me at the end of that, and I'll be standing here with like 2 teeth left.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have a beautiful smile now. I'm gonna go buy dentures. I'm gonna have beautiful teeth.
By that time, I wouldn't care.
I'm gonna have beautiful teeth. They just won't be mine.
Yeah. By that time, you'd have aged me. I'd have woke up like Rick Van Winkle, or woke up and I'm totally aged beyond belief.
Can't even believe what you see in the mirror. Yes.
Because you'd have wasted Brunson, like how you wasted Melo.
Right.
Like how you wasted Ewing to a certain extent. Like how you wasted this one to a certain extent. It's like, it has to stop. You cannot come back here next year and tell me that another year under Tibbs, another year together.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I think the biggest travesty, in Knicks history is not 94, 95, 96. I actually think the biggest travesty in Knicks history is that stretch from 1986 to 1991 where they couldn't figure out what to do with Pat. You know what I'm saying?
It almost ruined his career.
It almost ruined his career. right? You wait till he is an old man to make serious runs. When his legs were fresh, when he was at the peak of his superpowers, you was out here bringing in Tony Campbell.
He had 5 coaches in 6 years.
Yes.
Who? Where do you do that at?
Where I can't figure out where you ever work where you change the boss every year and you think it's going to be successful.
You think it's going to be successful?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Leaders have to have vision.
Right.
And you have to give them a moment to see the vision.
Right.
Right? And it's not always going to be perfect. I know some people may be saying, well, what do you think they're doing now with Leon and them? Okay. I'll give you that. Right? But you could also point out over these 4 years, major inconsistency that could have been done differently to help the rise of the team.
Right. Yep. And my fear, and I'm not going to put this on Tibbs. Y'all, listen. I'm not blaming Tom Thibodeau for this. Just hear me out on it. It's going to sound like I'm blaming Tibbs. I'm not really blaming Tibbs. So Tibbs needed to establish a culture. Tom Thibodeau needed to establish a culture. You know what I'm saying? He was brought in to do that. But you establish a culture at the expense of progress, development, analytics, and innovation. Right? You know what I'm saying? My thing is, okay, you establish a culture, now you set. Right? You made it to playoffs 2 years out of 3. The 1 year you missed the playoffs is because you had injuries everywhere. What I would say is now is the time for you to make the move, right? In a perfect world, you could get 2 studs out of the draft and play them around. For instance, it would be awesome if the Knicks can get an Allen Houston level player out of this draft to complement Jalen Brunson. Somebody that's not going to hijack the offense from Brunson and Randall and RJ, but be that super complementary player, like how Allen Houston was with Jerry Stackhouse and Grant Hill until he got to his 3rd year and then he broke out. That would be perfect. A guy that would defend and shoot the 3, keep his mouth shut, stay healthy, don't be disruptive, and just be a good role player from his age 20 season to about his age 22 season. And then you can kind of flip it a little bit where he can take over some of the offense from Jalen Brunson, and then they could legit have a balanced attack going forward. That's one of the things that I think the Knicks don't do. I think we're looking at hitting a home run.
Well, to speak on that point, Freezy, okay, and let me be clear. I'm not saying that you can't build around. If you build around Randall and build around RJ, if that's what you believe,
right?
But you just can't come back here with insignificant support pieces,
right?
And think they'll just rise and get that much better to carry the boat. No,
I think that might be the plan.
No, you gotta bring in. If you say to me, well, you can't move 25 and 10. It's not easy moving 25 and 10. Why would you move 25 and 10? I'll give you that.
Right.
You can't move a shooting guard who's averaged 20 points in the last 2 years, going into his 5th year. Okay, I'll give you that too.
Right.
But here's what you can't do. You can't have your backup point guard situation to where when these guys are off the floor, no one can run offense.
Right.
That's what happened in Miami. They go up 14. Tibbs makes...
They bring in Josh Hart, and the Heat cut the lead to 7.
Tibbs makes his most drastic mistake, and I don't know if Brunson told him, "Yo, I need to reset whatever support in my shoe, something, just get me off the floor for 2 minutes." Because if there was a game that he needed to play every second of the game, would be that game.
That is the game. Yep.
Okay, and what you have is when he gets off the floor, you have no leadership, no help to keep to stem that tide.
Right.
You don't have a true floor general to get them in position. Right. Even and for fans that might say, "Well, wasn't Quickley that?" No.
Well, and Quickley was hurt too, by the way.
But at the best of Quickley, when Quickley was coming in, everybody else ain't rising. It's Quickley who's rising.
Right.
You still don't have someone to run offense.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that, and I'm gonna pay you a compliment now, Uncle Freezy. Right? I remember you said at some point during the season, you were like, "Yo, AD, you need like a Mike Connolly, something like that."
Yeah.
You know, to come in. I couldn't see it. That was like, Freezy, you're gonna take minutes away from Quickley right now. Quickley he's about to go on a,
Right.
Why are we gonna do that? We got all these guards here. We already got an old head who's not playing. You were like, "No, AD, no, you need to," but it wasn't materializing because the team had gotten a new sense of energy from Hart.
Right.
Quickley is rising. Yep. The bench, Hart is doing his thing. It didn't seem like you necessarily needed a surefire old head stabilizer.
Right.
That was not the case because Miami has an old head stabilizer off the bench.
Right. And they played him, bro.
And they played him.
They had him out there. You know what I'm saying?
That man hit so many clutch threes. It's like, God, is it again? Another one? And that's part of what they need. If you're telling me that, like I said, you're bringing back the cast of characters, whatever, okay, but you can't bring him back without a real reinforcement.
Right.
It can't be Kemba Walker.
Right.
Shout out to Kemba, Bronx on. Can't be the Frenchman who's telling people right now, "Oh, I'm not coming back."
Right.
They're not bringing me back.
Yeah.
No shit, Sherlock.
Right. Exactly. Oh, he did. Yo, you are Trent Tucker, Evan Fournier.
When they needed a three, they looked past you. They needed a three.
It was like
jump to the right.
Yeah, I heard.
Anybody down there?
I heard a lady told me one time. No lie. I was in a club in a city that I shouldn't have been in a club I shouldn't have been in, and I was having drinks with this lady I met. It wasn't me and her. Wasn't nothing. That me and her, we just happened to be in the same place, and she said, "The only thing an old man can do for me is show me where the young man is at." You know what I'm saying? So that's what Tom Thibodeau out here telling Evan Fournier, go over there and find me some 3-point shooting.
That was it.
That's it. Yeah.
The coach looked down the sideline and was like, "Nah, it ain't there. Nah, it ain't there. It ain't there."
Yeah.
So when he said that, I'm like, hey, you know what? You got a point. But you know what? You got some nice parting gifts on your way out. Because if there's ever someone who did nothing for that contract outside of breaking John Stark's 3-point record,
he did that.
Like this deal goes up there with the the Eddie Currys of the world, the Jerome James of the world, the Jared Jeffries of the world,
the Howard Isleys, the Shandon
Howard Isaac of the world.
Andersons,
Yeah, like that
the
deal
Clarence
is right there. The
Weatherspoons.
Clarence Weatherspoon, it's right there.
Yeah, man.
It's right there. Because in the key, like I said, I might have looked at him wrong, like, what?
Yeah.
You know what? But I can understand it strategy-wise because he's still your best 3-point shooter outside of Brunson. Right. And maybe he hits one.
Yeah.
Maybe he hits two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Maybe, you're looking at him differently because he gets you to game 7 because you're this close from game 7 and you could not.
That Miami series, AD, reminded me of the fight that we saw last night. The Lomachenko and Devin Haney fight where the victor deserved to win, but every ounce, every minute of that fight was contested one way or the other. You could say that Lomachenko probably should have won. If you watch it, I don't think he should have won. I think he lost, right? But it was a competitive fight, right? It's the same thing with us in the Heat. Like the Heat didn't wash us away, you know what I'm saying, in any particular game. The margin for error for both sides was so small that we felt like any swing in momentum, any team could have won. Right? My deal though is if you know that going into the offseason, you can't be like, well, Josh, if this year we'll give Josh Hart more minutes. That's not gonna solve it, in my opinion. Right? That's not gonna solve it. Well, maybe if Immanuel Quickley stayed healthy, that would have solved it. Nah.
You don't cut the turkey with you don't cut the turkey with a butter knife.
No.
You don't.
Yeah, man. I'm with you. I'm with you, boss.
You need something. The butter knife is to help scoop on the cranberry sauce.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't do that. You gotta have something else, something more to go along with the main course.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your main course. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. Could you trade Randall in my eyes? Come on.
Probably.
But trade RJ in my eyes?
Probably. But my thing is with them, you still have to get a natural complement for Jalen Brunson. Whoever returns has to be. It can't be a wonky fit. It can't be Charles Smith playing small forward next to Charles Oakley and Pat Ewing. Be with 3 6'9" big men, and really,
Let me throw out a name, right? Okay. Throw out a name that I heard over this past week. Would you sign Naz Reid for Minnesota?
But where is he gonna play at?
He's gonna play in the role where Obi's currently at, because I'm already envisioning that he's out.
Tell you what I would do. I like Naz Reid, right? I do. What I would do is have him be the backup 5. The only thing about it is we have a backup 5.
But the thing is, I don't want iHeart out. If we're talking about team construction with the main core still here,
right?
Then we need guys to complement them,
right?
Right? You have that kind of a whirlwind force that can do a little of everything from that 4-5-5-4 position, because he can handle. He's explosive. Yeah. He could block shots. He could shoot a J. He's something that you don't have right now consistently anywhere near there.
Right.
And it wouldn't cost you nothing besides the same money that you use for an Evan Fournier. I'm talking about pieces that you would bring on if you're not moving out any of the core.
Right. I just feel like I think it's an excellent, that's an excellent name that you pose, but it puts me in a mindset where I feel like I'm buying the Time Life Hey Love record sets.
Hey,
No, my brother, you got to get your own.
Turn your head round. Turn your head round.
Hey, love.
You're in love.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like we do. That's what I feel like we doing. Like, basically, it's a musical chair. Like, you gotta. So if you bring in Nas Reed, you already have Mitch, you already have Randall, you already have Hartenstein, right? You want to replace. Now you got 4 bigs that all want to play and get minutes. You know what I'm saying? Randall, Reed, Mitch. In today's NBA, you only feature 1 big. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is a small ball this, stretch that, 3 and something this. You know what I'm saying? And you bring in Nas Reed.
Yeah, but look at Randall was off the floor though.
I know. I think Nas Reed is a starter.
Okay, see, my thing is, Freezy, then let's go at it from the opposite side.
Okay.
We're trading Randall. We're trading Mitch.
Okay.
Okay? We can't have it both ways.
Right.
Because if I say let's support it, then we're gonna say, well, that guy right there is really a starter. He ain't gonna come in here for 25 minutes. I don't know. That piece right now, if we go sign Draymond ain't gonna really want to be a backup to Randall. I don't know. Okay, so the alternative is we're moving out these pieces.
Right. No, I got you. I got you. So even in that scenario, because listen, I think what you're saying is extra smart. I think it's a dimension that should be added to the conversation, that we should consider all these moves. Like no move. You remember when you referenced Bobby Fischer earlier? Okay. I'm with you. I understand how you connect all these pieces, right? Like no move should not be at least looked at and processed, right? But like I tell my Jamaican family, all my my Jamaican family members, bro.
Shabba.
Yeah, yo. So it's like that song that we bump all the time. Now that we found love,
what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do with it?
Third world, baby. Now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? What? I love that record.
Yeah, but I love that joint, man.
Third World is a monster.
Yes.
You could remake that joint like when Heavy did like 15 years after the original record came out, and he had a smash with it.
Yeah.
You could keep remaking that joint. You could remake that today.
Yes.
Today, and you got a hit record.
Yes. Right. And yes.
That record, they somehow, reggae and funk. You got to shoot, they got to shoot, they got to shoot, they got to shoot, they got to shoot. What they got me right there. I love that. Well, I love the group, you know. Right. But they had some joints there. Like even when they made one with Stetsasonic. What's my dude? Oh God, Daddy O.
Yeah.
Daddy O. When they made a joint with Daddy O, Forbidden, and Daddy O jumps on it, and it was a nice fusion because Daddy-O didn't have to change. You know when, like in the early half of the fusion of reggae and hip hop together,
Right.
like when Yellow Man did a joint with Run DMC, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to flow together, because the dialects are still so new to each other. It's like, huh? What you saying?
Right.
That type of thing. By the time Daddy-O and Third World are collaborating, he doesn't need to hide his American flow to be on that pace, to be on that instrumental. Right. And they don't need to do anything other than to, when it's his time to go, clear the deck. So it's a similar thing. How did we get here, Freezy? Why do you do this to us, Like,
I'm just saying. Wait.
I'm just third world right now.
Yeah, I'm following, man. I like to listen, right?
Yeah, got me in the third world right now. We about to break out the best of third world.
When you talking about third world, I accidentally listened to this joint called "I'll Do Anything" by Delroy. What's that? Delroy Morgan?
Denroy.
By Denroy Morgan.
Watch the bass. Nothing in the world. Yo, he jumps on it. He jumps on it immediately, sir. Oh my God! Shout out to Denroy Morgan. You cannot a certain age party and they don't find that record,
bro.
You might as well have a protest outside,
I remember Bugsy playing that on WBLS. Bugs. I know people don't remember Bugsy and Ken Spiderweb and Frankie Crocker and Miss Vi in the mornings and Dr. Bob Lee, the beat on the street. He out there seeing a bunch of teenagers. He roll up on them. Hey, what school y'all go to? Blah, 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 boom, boom, boom.
Shout out to my 718 boys. I know they remember that.
They know that for sure, man. they know that for sure. But to the point that we're talking about the talent that you're looking to add, I think we need to consider everything. Everything should be on the table. Do you have to pull the trigger on every move? No. Right? But I think the paradigm has shifted away from these young kids and developing these kids and adding more kids to what do we need to add around Jalen Brunson to make this team a championship contender? Right?
I'll go a step further, Freezy, right? You know how you'll know what the moves are gonna be? Right?
Right.
The extension or non-extension to Tibbs.
Ooh.
Because
you want my answer right now?
He got a 5-year deal, right?
Yep.
He's coming into his 4th year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coaches from his, time period and clock, they already talking about, I got you to playoffs twice. We won a round.
Right.
The players and all that is good, but my next extension.
Right.
If they give him an extension between now and August,
right,
you'll know what they think about
the kids,
where they're going. Yeah. They don't give him an extension. It's like, go earn it.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna say to you, okay, I'm gonna earn it, but this is not what I need.
Right. Well, right. I'm gonna say this, AD. I think you agree with me. I think the two pieces that have to be added are a high-level starter that's around Jalen Brunson's age, right? And when I mean a high-level starter, I'm talking about like a Brandon Ingram, right? high-level starter. He's around Jalen Brunson's age. He may cost you a RJ or a Randall, right? But what it does is it diversifies the offensive and defensive attack, right? Now, with that said, I also think you need to add 2 more kids to this roster, and not because you need them to become stars, but you need to get these dead weight contracts off the back end of your roster, like the $35 million, $34 million tied up in Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier. Man, you got to move that and free up cap space. You know what I'm saying? So that when that other guy becomes available,
Yeah.
you'll be in position to strike. And our issue as Knicks, as a Knicks organization, is we've always painted ourselves in some type of weird corner, whether it's all kids and nobody wants to come play with them, or all veterans on bad contracts. Now we don't have the money to go out and get anybody else, or all we get all these veterans and now we don't have draft picks that we can trade away and get the finish. Because think about it, if we had draft picks, we could have traded and got a finishing piece to go with Carmelo Anthony, right? But we didn't have the assets. Right. So this summer here, I think is pivotal, and that we keep ultimate flexibility. You feel me? And then that way, if we need to go get a piece during the season, we can go get that piece during the season.
I can't play that during the season thing. I've seen them go out and get Josh Hart. So to be fair,
right?
I saw them go out and get D Rose when he still had something left in the tank.
Right.
Okay. To be fair.
Right.
So let me not, call out all the moves. This is not that Freezy. Okay. They need a shift in some of the most important parts of their game, player-wise, that needs to be there from day one. This thing here with Mitch, him being offensively inept,
yes,
where come down to the end of the games, Spoelstra literally brought back the hack-a-shack.
It was disgusting to watch, bro.
I would do the same thing.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. You can't blame him for good coaching.
Yeah. Because you have a dude here that when he's not getting an offensive rebound and I didn't even feel his lane dominance what I thought it should have been.
Right.
What we saw in the Cleveland against taller guys, at least, the way how he was able to patrol the paint, that was not what it was for him. And I'm thinking when he's down there, it muddies things to you. You can't get him out of there because who's going to respect him on the wing?
No one.
If you pass him the ball on the wing, it's only for that screen. It's only for a moment.
Right.
He ain't going to do nothing with it.
No, he ain't going to look at the rim.
15, 17 feet away.
He ain't going to look at the rim.
He might as well pass it to me and you watching the game.
Basically.
So do you go back in another season with that as your offensive option at that position? No. To me, I think if we're talking, again, we're building around Randall, okay?
No, Brunson.
Oh, excuse me, Brunson, but Randall was a part of everybody's still there's a part of the picture, right? If I have a chance, if you tell me if I could call Indiana and make a move for Miles Turner instead of Mitch, I make that.
But Tibbs ain't gonna use them like that. Tibbs centers do a certain thing.
Yeah, but I think it's a part of some of the pieces and things that if we're talking about everything being on the table, then this got to be on the table for you too, Tibbs. You got to, offensively, you need to be more creative.
Right.
You know, we can't keep relying on a Brunson in those moments where everyone just kind of steps aside and watch him do his thing.
Right.
We can't do that again.
Right. Can't do that. Can't do that. I'm sorry.
If we need it, fine. But is that sustainable? No.
No, that's not sustainable. You talking about bailout? No, that
No.
no.
Like, we may not respect, or we're looking at the Miami team right now. We're going, damn, we're better than them. Because that's the feeling right now. You watching things like, damn, we could have did that.
But AD, when I was saying there was a pathway, I was saying it as far back as February, right? There is a pathway, and the championship caliber teams take advantage of the pathways. And the Knicks, for the second time in 3 seasons, did not take advantage. You remember at the trade deadline 2 years ago when the Knicks were trying to trade for a point guard and they messed around and cleared cap space? They traded away Austin Rivers. That was their trade at the trade deadline. Right? So you like, wait a minute. These playoff teams are preparing for the arms race, and your move is trade Austin Rivers? What are we doing out here? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, AD. What I'm talking about is I agree with you what you're saying, right? But I'm saying the trade at the trade deadline positioning is once you played your 50, your 47 games or whatever, and you feel like something's missing, then you go get that piece at the trade deadline. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about trading for a franchise piece at the trade deadline. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Right. It's like when your steak come and it's almost perfect. It just needs something, and then you get that something and put on the steak. That's what I'm talking about.
And I'm there with you. Now, like I said before, I've seen them do that. They went out or they got a heart, whatever, but I just want to set the table early.
Or they'll trade and get a Derek Harper.
Yeah, I want them to set the table early.
Right.
You know, like, this is our team.
Right.
You're going to have to deal with this team.
Yeah.
You know, whatever your pieces are. I mean, I've the rumors are flying all over. You know, would Embiid want to be in New York? Like, let me ask you, would you do an Embiid for Randall trade without just as them being the centerpieces of a trade?
Yes. Absolutely. And the reason why I would do it is because at the same age, Julius Randle is not an MVP caliber type player. Joel Embiid just won the NBA MVP. And he had been playing at an MVP level for 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay, Fuji. Here's the problem with that. And I'm not off as far as I'm not off the, as far as with Embiid and from what you said. But here's always been the problem with Embiid. One, he does not take his physical conditioning to the point of a Julius Randle. If nothing else, when Julius Randle steps on that floor, he is physically, he has given himself all of the advantages of what that position demands. You don't have to worry about Julius Randle being in condition.
Right.
Okay? That's one. 2, Randle's going to be at least available. Consistently available.
Right.
Okay? Now I go on the flip side of that. Offensively, he's nowhere near as talented and would mesh with Brunson the way how we can envision Embiid. How many times has Embiid faltered when you needed him?
I understand.
When Philly needed him? There's
I,
always an excuse. It's my thigh. It's my leg. It's
he
my
sound,
back.
he sound like Kaya.
Yeah, yeah.
Do it. My neck, my back. Right? You know what I'm saying? He sound like that club song. Remember that old club song from back in the day?
Yeah, that was a major record.
Yeah.
That was a crazy record. That was a crazy record at that time. But we could call him that, Embiid Kai, because every year it's something. Every year it's not his fault. It's not Harden's fault. Like, I want to hear nothing about James Harden.
Right.
And for all you James Hardeneers, and I told y'all like 6-7 years ago that James Harden is not that guy.
Right.
Supremely talented. Right? Supremely talented. For some reason, in these playoff games and years over his stretch of his prime in his career, this is no words for it.
Okay.
Just no words for it. He's faltered and it's always someone else's fault. I'm no Doc supporter. But if you telling me, yo, I ain't coming back if you
but
Doc
AD, this is where we diverge a little bit. Right? If you're telling me that Embiid is not the answer, but Nas Reed is the answer, I can't go there with you.
I'm not saying that, Freezy. I'm talking about from two different aspects.
Okay.
If you bring on an Embiid, you're taking on a lot of variables with him in his game. Does he love winning, or does he love the fact that he was able to get an MVP trophy?
Right.
Is he a real dog?
Okay.
Is he going to, the things that we want to see out of Randall, they will be the same things we want to see out of Embiid.
Huh? Say it again.
I said the things that we want out of Julius Randle will be the same things we want out of
No,
Embiid.
they won't. No, they won't.
Of course.
No, they won't. There
will be no other expectations besides winning a championship with Joel Embiid.
No, they won't. I was with you to the last part. That last
part.
How would
they not? How would they not? Tell me.
For one, Joel Embiid gets the superstar whistle. For one, right? All them times we crying like they mugging Randall out there, they won't call it. Not only is Joel Embiid getting those calls, he is at top of the list at getting those calls, right? And then those nights where your wing players go absolutely ice cold, and you've seen it. You saw it against Miami. Can you imagine if we had Embiid against Miami in that series? We're playing the Celtics right now, right?
Freezy, I'll give you that, but like I said, you would expect that.
Right.
You would expect no less. That's my point. My point is, if you have him against Miami, you're expecting
but
to be in the conference finals at the very least.
But the point that I'm getting at is since Embiid and Randall play different positions, it's not just an Embiid versus Randall conversation. It's an Embiid and Mitchell Robinson versus Embiid conversation. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's one of them things. Can Joel Embiid replace the production of Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson and be a star?
Absolutely.
And be a star. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's my point. That's what I'm getting at. And And also, here's the kicker: when Brunson needs to get in his bag, when Brunson has to get in his bag, right? When Brunson is in it deep down in that bag, you know what I'm saying? Where the ketchup packets is at, right? What does Julius
Old
Randle and
condiments.
yeah. Like when Brunson is in his bag like that, what is Randall and Mitch Robinson doing?
They're watching.
Getting in the way.
And getting away.
And Embiid is a good screener on the outside, and he can space the floor with
You could
Brunson.
play. You could play the two of them together. You could play that
Right,
two-man game with them because he
right,
wants to be a face-up. He's a part of Embiid's problem with Philly. Okay, is that he wants too much to be a face-up five.
right.
He thinks of himself too much with small men capabilities. Like, dude, you're 7'2", 300 pounds before lunch.
Right.
I don't want to see you consistently out there. No,
Well. He's this
I want
generation's
you
Patrick
to
Ewing.
maul.
He's
If
this
you're
generation's Patrick
averaging
Ewing,
10
bro.
to 15 free throws per game, and in the game 7, you don't get those same 10 to 15 free throws, I need to sit down and to ask and to look at the coaching and you and your desire to where you were getting the ball. Why were you not being a menace in the paint?
Hey, SD, I got you right. I got you right.
Do you watch Joker?
Yes,
Okay, then enough said.
right. Everybody's not Joker though.
Oh, you are so right. You've never been so right in
Absolutely,
your life.
absolutely. Right.
Next topic. Let's go.
Yeah. Next time. Yeah, but AD, the point that I'm getting at is I just think Phillies they just top out. They're just a second round team. I don't think it's Joel Embiid's fault. I just think that, like, think about it. Historic outside of Dr. J and maybe Allen Iverson. When have you seen Philly be that?
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Yeah, and you're correct. Here's the thing though, Freezy. They literally were tanking the the credibility of the league with the trust the process. He's 50% of the process.
Yeah. Well.
It's 50% of the other 50 is somewhere watching TV, taking shots at that can't play because again, oh you want to party like this? Do it. His neck, his back, his head, his head, his head. Pause. That dude is absolutely wants no part of a basketball. He was the other 50% of the process.
You have to add.
They literally drag basketball down and the league allowed them to do this to tank games.
Right, yeah, but the process also had Rashawn Holmes and Robert Covington and Dario Saric and others, Michael Carter Williams. They had a bunch of good players, right?
But they were fodder for him.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
They were doing it to get him.
No, I know this. What I'm saying though, ultimately, is the process. They pushed up the two best players that they felt like they had, and traded away the other pieces for win now pieces, and it absolutely backfired on them, right? And what they should have done is just stayed the course. What they should have done, dare I say, is
no
trust the process.
No,
that's what they should have done.
No,
because they had guys. It makes too much sense.
Their mistake.
Why would you trade away Robert Covington, who was an all NBA wing defender, to bring in a all NBA wing defender? What are you doing?
Okay, great point. Right?
Right? Why would you trade away Dario Saric, a stretch four, to bring in Al Horford to be your stretch four?
Well, okay,
You know what I'm saying?
okay, but you're skipping a couple of steps in the process.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't skip on. I did those. Are the only two that I had a chance to get to. There were others.
No, you did a skip to my loo.
No,
Okay.
I know. I'm trying to do them in a line, but you didn't. You didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get to it. There were they listen. Why? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that ultimately sank them. Right. Here's the thing that ultimately sank them. You know you already have centers, right? Why do you draft Jaleel Okafor when you could have drafted Kristaps Porzingis, right? And then why do you trade up to number one for a point guard when the year before that Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year at point guard? You trade up to point guard instead of taking Jason Tatum, right? These are the things that I'm pointing. Trust the process. If they would have just drafted Porzingis, trusted Tatum, they could have had a lineup, and it's not perfect, of Jared Bayless, Michael Carter Williams, um, um, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Joel Embiid, Nerlens Noel, Rashawn Holmes, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and TJ McConnell.
Because you're not, because here we go again with you and this young core. You don't want to keep the young core in here in New York, but you want to keep the young core out in Philly. You want to keep all those young players together. When the hell did that ever work?
AD, you totally missed what I'm saying. You missed it.
All
What
right,
I'm
get it
saying
back to me again.
no. What I'm saying is if your theme is trust the process, how do you get into the process and then start skipping steps? That's what I'm saying.
Got you.
Right?
Got you.
Like, why would you start trading away pieces? Like, you trading away pieces so you can bring in JJ Redick?
But
Really?
okay,
JJ Redick is the answer?
Okay, but here's the thing though, Freezy. All right, and I got you. Okay, I'm there with you now. When Elton Brand took over, Elton Brand takes over like after that nonsense was going on with the previous regime when they were doing, when they were literally
after the
tanking.
hardcore tanking,
Right. So he comes on in well, let me galvanize this. Okay. He gets in Jimmy Butler, moves out some pieces, gets in Tobias Harris. Moves out some more people. Well, get what's the name who you just mentioned, right? Changes the coach.
JJ Redick,
right? So now he has an semblance of,
a second round team.
When he made those maneuvers, I can't lie to you. At the time, Embiid is 4 at the time. Right. Simmons is 21, 22. 6'10" point guard, right. that can get Embiid the ball,
right,
and not crowd his space in the paint, or when he wants to be in the paint. I thought they really had something. But again, the consistencies in the playoffs, they should have never lost to Toronto.
Right, they should have never lost to Toronto. Right.
They should have never lost to Toronto.
Right. But AD, you know the reason why they lost to Toronto is they skipped steps. They should have trusted their process. That's the difference between them and the Knicks. They had young pieces in place that were developing into the pieces that they needed. So instead of fast forwarding a year by trading away everybody and then being stuck in the second round, all they had to do was just let those young players develop together organically, and they would have made the natural progression, right? And here's the thing: things like that happen. They took the Orlando Magic route, right? You remember the Orlando Magic came into the NBA and their owner was like, "No, we want to win right away." Remember them and Minnesota came in with the same mindset. We want to win right away. So at the expansion draft, Minnesota took Rick Mahorn from the Pistons. You remember that? Rick Mahorn was at the championship parade with the
Yes.
Pistons and
Mm-hmm.
found out he was selected by the Minnesota Timberwolves
Right.
in the expansion draft. Right. So instead, what I'm getting at is build it, or y'all had been losing for. Here's my thing. You know all the players that I mentioned just now, right? That second round team: Embiid, Simmons, Butler, Harris, all them guys, right? You know what team they broke up in order to start the trusted process? So they had a point guard named Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Right? He was the starting point guard. The starting shooting guard was Andre Iguodala.
Right.
They had Mo Harkless. They had Sasa Vucevic. That team was stacked. That team was a second round team. And Philly was like, we don't want to be a second round team. We're going to trade away all these pieces and we're going to tank so that we could become a champion. And guess what happened? They did all of that for 5 years and they're still a second round team because they skipped steps.
But to my original point, Freezy, they were tanking for him.
Well, not
everybody else. Everybody else was fodder because what's the common denominator?
They were tanking for a megastar. They were tanking for a megastar. No, I get it.
And they had two.
Right. And
they had and they didn't appreciate Jimmy Butler.
But AD, they could have had four. They could have had
four. They could have had four easily. You're right.
Right. Why are you taking Jahlil Okafor over Kristaps Porzingis when you already have a big man center?
Because they were delusional at that point, and they didn't see where the game was going.
Right. And why are you taking? Think about this. If you have your center of the future, why are you drafting a center? Right. And then if you have your point guard of the future, why are you trading up in the draft to get the number one pick to take another point guard? You see how ridiculous this shit sound?
Because they're doing things on the fly.
Because they stupid.
Yeah. And that's where, we may disagree with Elton Brand's strategy.
Right.
But once Elton got in there, at least he gave them some forward push and like, this is where we're going to take this.
Right.
Because Jimmy Butler was under his watch. He just, the what's the name trade that you mentioned in the end when they signed the big from Boston to that ridiculous
Al Horford.
Yeah, when they signed Al Horford at that time, which again I understood because Al Horford makes sense because they needed to kind of give Embiid and the rest of them some more maturity. They just did it. They got him and then they got rid of Butler.
Yeah. And they signed Tobias Harris first.
And they signed Tobias Harris.
Then signed Horford. And then was like, Jimmy, we don't have no money.
Jimmy, we don't got no money. But that wasn't it. It was, Jimmy, we don't like your influence in this locker room. Right. We know you're great. But, this is really Ben's team. You're taking a little bit too many shots at Ben. We need to develop Ben. They coddled Ben, and I was a Ben guy because I saw 6'10" can defend everybody. Yes, he doesn't have a jump shot. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I'll figure it out.
But AD, think about this. And chat, think about this. What would y'all think if the Knicks trade up in the draft and draft a point guard? What would y'all be thinking?
I'd be throwing up.
You'd be like, what the hell are they doing?
I'd be throwing up. I'd be like, what? But what?
Right.
Right. What would the Brunsons be thinking?
Right. What would the Brunson? You know they run everything. What would they be thinking?
They run
Right.
everything.
And
Like,
right. And if you think the Obi Toppin Julius Randle thing makes you sick to your stomach, right? When you could have drafted a dynamic wing, you gonna draft Julius Randle's backup. Like every place on a roster is in flux instead of except power forward, and you're gonna draft a power forward. What?
where are you going?
AD, that's my point. They didn't trust the process.
You know what? You are right. You are right. And they Elton Brand paid dearly for that
Yep.
because they didn't bring in, retread from Houston, Daryl Morey. Like when I hear people talk about Daryl Morey, I'm like, what has Daryl Morey won?
Right.
What did he do besides trade out a very good center so he can have he can have Westbrook and and Harden go more to the paint and give Atlanta a center?
Right.
Because PJ Tucker at 6'4", 6'5.5" could somehow man the paint by
Sometimes.
himself.
Sometimes.
By himself.
Yes. With Tyson Chandler on the bench, by the way, at 33, 34 years old.
So you can have a bunch of 6'5", 6'6" guys on the court. In what world was that going to win a championship for you?
It was never going to win a championship, but it was entertaining to watch.
So you bring in this guy who then brings in, the moment he gets a chance and Doc gets fired from the Clippers, because remember, they were up on Denver too.
Yes.
Right? So Doc gets fired. You bring in Doc to do what? To guide Embiid?
It was the worst knee-jerk hiring. It was the worst knee-jerk hiring ever.
You can't do this. And in relation to the Knicks, you got to look at the landscape and what other teams are doing, Freezy.
I get that.
You just have to.
I get that.
And how you going to take advantage of what they did wrong?
Right.
Now you're looking at Boston right now, and don't get me wrong, I love Boston's team and how they play, right, and the grittiness and whatever. But are you looking at them right now going, that couldn't have been us?
Bro, okay. AD, let me do this. Let's do this for the last few minutes or so, right? How about we look at what this team needs to do to get better this offseason? I know we started talking about it in the first hour, right? But just because you said that, like, and I mentioned the ridiculous duplicity of the decision making of the executives in place, right? Like, so if you're, say, Hoodie Kev is looking at this roster of Brunson, Grimes, RJ, Randall, Mitch, IQ, Hart, Obi, Hartenstein, right? And you know this team is good, but it can be better. Is the first thing you're gonna do is go out and trade for another power forward, right? Like you're gonna trade up in the draft are you gonna trade up in the draft to get a power forward to be Obi's backup to Randall's backup? No. Are you going to trade and get a point guard to replace Jalen Brunson?
No.
All the other areas, we know clearly the 2 and the 3 need to be upgraded, right? We need a level of consistency out of those positions, right? And if you can, then maybe try to upgrade to 5 if you can with your leftover resources. Right? But historically, what we'll do is Jalen Brunson is a star. So this summer, we're going to go get a guy to take away from Jalen Brunson's stardom. Can we can we at least allow Jalen Brunson to develop into a megastar? AD, when's the last time the Knicks had a megastar?
Mellow,
Melo. Bro, you see how long ago we talking?
mellow, and
Melo is 39 years old right now,
yeah,
right? Is that how long ago we talking? We still reminiscing over a 39-year-old man? I mean, at what point? At what point are we gonna say, "Yo, let's just let common sense prevail for once"? And instead of going to get a guy to replace Randall, how about we bring in a guy to go with Randall and Brunson and RJ?
yeah. We, we touched on it.
Yeah.
We more than touched on it.
Yeah.
If that's the route, okay, but let him be significant.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? Let him be. If that's gonna be, they're still gonna do that. You gotta find a five. Gotta really find a five that's gonna help. Not only, but even before that, you gotta. To me, you gotta really sit down with the coach and like, look, I get it. Defense is a major thing for you, and you know what?
Right.
Yes, you're gonna need to play some key defense.
Right.
In different parts of the game, especially in these dog game 6, game 7 moments.
Yeah.
I'm there. Okay? Your offensive strategies have got to get better.
Got to.
Because here's what it is. You're not guaranteed past this year. Like I said, if they don't give him a contract extension at least by going into the year, it's you better win.
You better win.
You better win.
Yep.
And that's not a bad, carrot. Keeps you on your toes.
Right.
But like I said
especially when you already got 3 years.
yes.
When you already put in 3 years.
Because we're watching dudes with championships in the recent getting their walking papers.
Right. Right.
You went around and you're getting a pat on the back. We're watching dudes that took historically bad franchises.
Right.
Like, if I'm Nick Nurse, I'm probably going to do some wicked things to Ujiri's desk, his office. Like, you better be firing me over the phone, my guy.
Right.
This ain't no in-person firing. Like, what? Where were y'all before I helped y'all win this championship? You're gonna fire me so soon?
Right. Right.
Nah.
Right.
Mm-mm. That means you think it was all about you, Ujiri. Like, you think that you could have plugged anybody in there and they would have won with Kawhi, and like anybody could have did that.
Right.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's not true. But you know what? In terms of the Knicks, in terms of the Knicks, man, what I'm gonna do, AD, just real quick before I get out of here, man. Is these days the time go by so fast, but
oh wow, we approaching 2 hours.
Yeah, already, right. What I'm gonna do if I'm the Knicks front office, the first thing I'm doing is this. I'm gonna see if I can find a generational talent in the draft. I'm gonna identify a generational talent, right? And then I'm gonna see if I can acquire that generational talent, right? And then and that's just one. That's just part one. Now, part two of it is I'm gonna see if I can find one or two guys out of this rookie class that can play every day. Somebody like a junkyard dog. You remember junkyard dog? All he wanted to do was play defense and rebound. Remember Josh Hart. I want to get a bigger version of Josh Hart, right? That I could pay about $3 million a year for the next 4 years. I don't need to pay Josh Hart $22 million a year to do what he does, right? I'm not doing that. I'm going to finding a guy in the draft to do that same thing he do, except bigger and more athletic, right? And then from there, I'm gonna take the rest of my assets and devote them to the direct support of Jalen Brunson. I'm going to JB like JB. What do you really need? And JB is gonna be like something along the lines of, man, I need a big guard to help me with this ball handling duties because it's too much. It's just too much of a job for one point guard to handle all these duties. 82 games. That's why I missed so many games this year. So when he tell me that, I'm on the market for a big point guard that's going to come in here and help Jalen Brunson man the point guard, right? And I'll tell you who if I can't get SGA, who I probably can't, then I'm going to get either Delano Banton from Toronto or Dalen Terry from Chicago. I'm bringing in one of those dudes, and their whole job in life is to be the concierge for Jalen Brunson. That's their role. Their whole role is to, when it's raining, put the umbrella up for me. You know what I'm saying? Their whole role is to be Alfred to Bruce Wayne, to keep Bruce Wayne. Because people think Bruce Wayne was a mighty hero. They forget that if it wasn't for Alfred getting Batman stuff, Batman wouldn't have been able to perform. Right? That's what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them. You know the, okay, let me tell you the perfect scenario for it. You remember Magic Johnson was great, right? I'm trying to find him a Michael Cooper. You remember Michael Cooper, Cooper Loop? He did all the stuff that Magic couldn't do because Magic was the guy. That's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find you remember John Stockton? I'm trying to find a Howard Osley, right? The direct backup. You remember Steve Nash? I'm trying to find a Leandro Barbosa, right?
Yeah.
That type of guy where this guy can perform at a high level, but his backup does all the little dirty work so that the star can stay healthy. Basically, like when you go to a concert and you see the opener of the show, the people that warm up the crowd, they warming up the crowd before the headliner. That's what I'm. Jalen Brunson is my headliner, right? So I'm going out and getting a guy that like if I'm going to a Temptations show, like the Temps in a prime, if I'm going to see a Temp show in a prime, right? I'm gonna go get me the Spinners to open up for the Temptations, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, almost as good. In my opinion, I think the Spinners are better, but for this, you understand where I'm going with it, right? Keep Jalen Brunson healthy. Keep Jalen Brunson healthy. So at the end of the season, you know what I'm saying? So when we get to these game sixes in the playoffs against the Miamis, Jalen Brunson will have help. Somebody he can depend on.
At least from that position.
Right.
Again, when we touched on this earlier, when he goes out of the game, someone can come in and run offense.
Right.
Period. We talked about this, so I definitely don't disagree with you, at all. But they have so much. They got a lot of. They got a lot of decisions to make, Freezy.
Right.
Before we close out, they definitely have a lot of decisions to make. This is going to be a rocky summer, and I'm hoping they come out, at least, if not talking to the fan base, like your moves should clearly say what you're about,
Right.
what we're about going forward. But before we close out, Uncle Freezy, I think we touched on hip hop, and we always want to, never forget our greats. Today's the birthday of the late great, Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G. So we always want to, salute, our icons gone way too soon.
Way too soon.
But the music stays here forever and ever. Now, one of these days, gotta know you're a hip hop head. We definitely gotta, chop up who our top 100, is, and who's our top five. Your top five changes depending on the mood that you in.
Yeah. Especially when you hear somebody say something like, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God is smiling on you, but he's frowning too, because only God knows what you'll go through. When you hear stuff like that on 98.7 Kiss FM, you know what I'm saying? When you hear stuff coming out, just man, listen, man. But yeah, to your point, man, yeah, to the point I was making, for every Steph Curry type player, you need a Sean Livingston.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's where we started. It's the most pivotal part of what's needed for this Knick team. Like, absolutely. Livingston, who was, you remember, when they drafted him and he kept breaking his leg, it was like, oh, damn, we ain't never going to see this guy. Yeah, we ain't never going to see this guy. And Golden State just plucked him.
Yep.
And as they're putting their team together, bam, he's pivotal. We don't talk about him enough. When they talk about the Splash Brothers and Draymond, and you never have to worry about running offense when you had him in the game.
Right. Because he would come in the game with Steph.
Yes.
He'd come in the game with Steph and give Steph a break. Like, Steph, I got all the ball handling duty. All you got to do is shoot.
Absolutely. The ball is going to keep moving. So definitely. But all right, Uncle Freezy, again, as we close out, we don't know where this journey started, but we know where it ended with the Knicks fans and, giving up another Sunday to rock out with me and Uncle Freezy. We're going to look for you in the whirlwind.
Shannon Bridge.
Garvey.
All right, y'all, man. Peace, y'all.